Welcome to my Sideboard Diaries. So today we are going to start new video series, C# tutorials for beginners. I am going to guide you through the fundamental of C# programming. By the end of this series, you will have a solid grasp of one of the most powerful programming language in the world. If you are a fresher or newcomers or a student of IT, then you are on the right video. Today we will be focusing on the basic topic of that, and that is variables. Before starting the today's topic, let me introduce myself. I am Jitendra Ghanekar. I am a Psycho certified developer. If you want to connect me on my Gmail ID, I have given the Gmail ID on the screen. You can connect me on my LinkedIn. Do follow me on my Instagram ID and also on the Facebook. So let's start. So what we are going to see in this video. So what we are going to discover in this video. First, we will see what is variable. Then we will go through what is a data type. Then we will see what is implicit type variables, and then at the end I will walk through the sample code in Visual Studio. So before starting, if you are new to the channel and not subscribed, then I will advise you to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of my video. So let's start. So first topic, what is a variable? So assume that you have an application where you are getting a value or input from the user. So you have a value A, value B, and you are displaying total value A plus B. Okay, so there is a first member who will access this application. He might enter A value as a 5 and B value as a 3, and you will show it as a 8. But whereas the member B will insert a value A as a 5 and value B as a 10, and you will give the total value as a 15. So there is a program which will take a value A plus value B, and then the addition of value B, which is shown in the T. Okay, so values are changing during its execution. So while program is getting executed, programmer is not aware what will be the value in the A, what will be the value in the B, and those values are getting changed during the execution of the application. Okay, so these A plus and B are basically variables. So when creating the program, the programmer does not know what values will be introduced as input, and that makes it necessary to process all possible values a user may enter. So when you're creating a program here like A plus B, you are writing, so programmer doesn't know what value will be there for A or what value will be there for B. Okay, when a user enters a new value that will be used in the process of calculation, we can preserve it temporarily in the RAM of our computer. The values in this part of a memory vary throughout the execution, thus these values are called variables. So as in first line we learn that A plus B, that those values A and B are programmer doesn't know. So what will programmer will do? Programmer will save that value, the input value, as either temporary RAM of a computer. It will store temporarily in the RAM of our computer. So the values in this part of a memory vary throughout the execution, thus these values are called variables. So these values, whatever you are taking the input and you are storing that into the RAM of your computer, so that value is getting vary across the execution of the application or execution. So those values on which we are stored, those are called as the variables. Okay, so in this example where you are taking a value A and value B, so A and B are the variables. Now let's see what is a data type. So this is a basic of any language. What are the different data types we have? So data types are sets of values that have a similar characteristic. So it is something where which has a is a set of values which are having a similar characteristic. So that what are those characteristics? First, it will have a same name, it will have a some size, and it will have a default values. Okay, so if you see what are the different data types we have. So first is a integer types. So there are values which can be stored as an integer like s byte, byte, short, u short, integer, u8, log, ulog. All these are the data types. Okay, those are integer types. So whatever the values which we are going to store, those will be an integer type value, and it will have a specific size and the default values. Then we have a real floating point types. Okay, so if you have a floating types, then you have a float and double. Then we have a decimal precision. So for that we have a data type as a decimal. Then boolean type is bool, character type is char, string type is a string, and then you have an object. Okay, you have an object, that is object type is object. So these data types are called as a primitive or built-in types. Okay, so these are the provided by this the .NET. Okay, and these are called as a primitive type built-in types okay, variables. Now we'll see implicitly typed. So you have seen the built-in type variables. So alternately in C# we can declare a variable without knowing its type. Okay, so you don't know what type it is, whether it is integer, it is the decimal, it is float, or is it a string. You don't know the type of that variable, then you can use a var keyword. Such variables are called as a implicit type local variable. So var keyword we can use for define the implicitly typed local variables. Var can only be used when a local variable is declared and initialized in the same statement. The variable cannot be initialized to null or to a method, group, or anonymous function. So whenever you are using a var, you have to declare that in the same you have to define the value of it in the same statement. So where you can depend var I is equal to 0. So you have to provide the value of that. Var cannot be used on the fields at the class code. Variables declared by using var cannot be used in the initialization expression. In other words, like this expression, like integer I is equal to I equal to 20. This is legal, but if you use a var instead of integer, then it will throw you a compile time error. Multiple implicitly typed variable cannot be initialized in the same statement. So you can have the multiple variables or built-in variables like integer I, comma j, that you can define, but you cannot do it for the implicit type. If a type named var is in the scope, and then the var keyword will resolve to the type name and will not be treated as an implicit type local variable declaration. If you are using var as a type variable, okay, then that keyword will resolve to that type name, will not be treated as an implicit type local variable. Okay, it will be taken as a built-in. So I have opened the Visual Studio. I have created a small project here and added one class. Okay, so this is a console application. I have written some code for a demo purpose. So I'm showing that code. Then at the end we will run this code and we'll see what it is the output. So first thing is the sample example of how are you going to define the variables, that is the integer types. So if you see here, the bytes is a type, then you have a variable name and the value. Similarly, you short and your variable name. Okay, I'm at the end I'm writing the this line here. Okay, I'm taking the variable values and displaying those values in this in the console. Okay, so similarly I have a float things. Okay, here I am taking that float 3.14f and double also same thing. Okay, and I'm writing it. I'm also writing the not a number and the infinity values. Then in this example, what I'm going to doing is we are getting a number and whole there are a lot of decimal numbers if you see here for the pi values. So we are going to see how what is the difference when we use this or we display this when you are using a float or double. Similarly here also we are going to see what is the difference when you divide by any number to the float, and same values if you try to display the double, how it is getting displayed. So this is the example of a boolean. Here what I'm doing is I'm just taking I'm defining one integer value a is equal to 1, another integer value is b, and then I'm creating a boolean variable greater ab where I'm checking whether a is greater than b. Similarly, I'm checking another value a if a is equal to 1. So the equal a1 is my another boolean value. So if greater ab, then it will display this statement. If it otherwise, it will display this statement. Then this is the example of a characters, okay, and this example is of a string. So the difference between character and string, if you see, the character will take only a single character, whereas string you can have a word. So if you see here, what I am doing is I am displaying the code of the character. Okay, so every character will have its code, okay, which is used. So that is I am displaying here. Whereas in the this string, I'm concatenating my first name and last name, and then I'm displaying that. Then this is an example of a object, and finally we have an example of a where. So where we are defining the string value here. Here we are defining the here we are defining the integer value. Here we are defining the string value, and then we are defining the array value. Okay, so this is the code. Now if I run this code, if you see here, it is displaying 20 centuries are 2000 years or 7,30,480 days. So basically whatever the variable which we have used here, okay, so that is getting displayed. Okay, then we were displaying the 3.14 the float and the double value. If you see it's the same, then it is displaying the not a number infinity. Then we are seeing the decimal values. We are used the 3.14 the pi number, complete pi number for float and double pi. But when we print the float, you will see here the after 6 decimals, the 6th decimal is actually getting rounded up to from 2 to 3, whereas double it is all showing it the whole number. Okay, so that is the difference between double and float. Similarly, when we divide the when we print 0.1 in the float and 0.1 in the double, so double is showing the whole decimal, whereas float is showing just a single 0.1m. Then we divided by 3 that number. That is also, if you see it, the difference here, the whole decimal, all the decimals are not getting displayed in the float. Then there is a value which we have discussed about the boolean variable. If you see a is less than or equal to b, that is getting printed here. Greater ab value is false, equal a1 value is true. So that is how it is getting displayed. Then the character which we have seen, so a character code is 97, b is 98, capital A is 65. Then the string thing which we have seen, that it is displaying my name, and if you see here the full name is also getting displayed, and also the object. So this is how the simple simply we can define the variables in the C#. Okay, this is a basic thing which we can start with the C# tutorial. Okay, this is the first topic which we have discussed, how to define the variables, what are the variables, okay, and how to define it and how it works. So we are done for today. In next video, we will step into another basic concept of C#, that is value type and reference type. We will learn how it will impact coding journey. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to get the latest update. And of course, if you found this video helpful, then please upvote the video by giving us thumbs up. And also leave your comment below. I value your feedback and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.